Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch joining us every Tuesday for a City Hall update, and this morning is no exception. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Joe.
How are you today?
Glorious morning. I'm doing well, thanks.
It's gorgeous, and it's June. It's Flag Day month, Mayor.
It's graduations, it's Flag Days, it's anniversaries and birthdays, and you name it.
Weddings.
The schedule is pretty
proms.
chock full.
Yeah, it really is. It's all of a sudden we've gone from 0 to 100 here.
Absolutely. It's all good, though. It's all positive.
I know that you mentioned that you just had a Flag Day meeting, so you can give us the very latest, if that's okay, about the parade coming up on Flag Day this year.
Yeah, sure. We got a couple more meetings left, but we got, I think it's 15 or 16 floats that are going to be in the parade. And as we've talked about before, the ones that the city is building, we've dedicated some time with our carpenters and folks that work in public buildings and DPW and parks to a number of Quincy themes. Quincy Center, Child World, Howard Johnson's, the shipbuilding industry, the granite industry, on and on, the Grossman's wagon. I mean, it's really, really cool, the floats we got. I mean, these are really top shelf, top quality. And, of course, you know, the bands are a pretty big deal. We got 4 drum and bugle corps, the Marine Band out of Quantico, and, of course, my favorite is the Quincy North Quincy High marching band. They're terrific. You'll get 6 historic flags that are 15 by 25 that will be carried by community groups. And so, I mean, it's going to be one hell of a parade. It really is, for celebrating our 400th, Joe.
And just curious, these floats, will these be in future Flag Day parades as well? Is this something the city will keep and continue?
Well, we're talking about that now. Hopefully, we'll get 2 or 3 of them in the Squantum and Marymount July 4th parade. And then, of course, a couple of them we could save and reuse for the Christmas parade, which will finish out our 400th year. So we're playing with that now. You can't tie up too many trailers and trucks when you need them for regular work, you know.
I see.
So
yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Sure. And how many past Grand Marshals have you heard from now?
I think about 15.
Wow.
That will be with us. Of course, there are a number that are deceased. You know, when you go back and look at some of the old names, like Governor Peabody back in the 60s, Dick Stratton, General Patton, the son of the famous general, who was from Hamilton, Mass. I mean, there's a great list of some amazing people. But, yeah, we'll have actually 4 generals with us, Dunford, McConville, McGinn, Rand, you know, former city clerk Joe Shea, and Rich Kennedy from, you know, he's run the Squirrel Run for years, former Chief Paul Keenan, a bunch. It's going to be a really fun day. It really will.
Yeah.
Ducky Cubian, of course, the Yaku. So there'll be a float that will allow for some of the past Grand Marshals to ride, and then those that are able to walk will walk along with the float.
And the ceremony after the parade up at Pageant, what's that looking like?
Yeah, so it's going to be a beautiful evening. God willing, it's a beautiful evening weather-wise. But we'll have we're going to have hot dogs for the kids, ice creams, waters. Ronan Tynan is going to sing a few patriotic songs, including the national anthem. We'll have the giant flag, Hancock Adams flag, 50 by 80, raised by Allie Shaughnessy and Alley Cat Crane and Hollamore, the 2 big cranes up there. And we'll have the howitzers. So it's going to be one heck of a night. And, of course, the fireworks display by Atlas Pyrotech, they're tremendous. And Dan Quirk covers that for us, so we're grateful for that. So it should be a phenomenal evening, as well as the weather's with us. So anyone out there that likes to pray for good weather on June 14th, please.
Yes, 6 p.m. kickoff this year, right? An hour earlier.
That's correct, because of the length of the parade, the size of it. So starting at Hancock and Hannon, the 2 H's, heading north, Marymount Parkway, and then up to Pageant Field.
Very good. And then more festivities after that this year, right? That doesn't end it.
Oh, we got quite a year planned,
Yeah.
sure, with a number of activities. The big concerts at the stadium, of course, in August, the Hot Air Balloon Festival in September, the Truck Music Festival, Food Truck Festival will be held in October. Everything has been kind of supercharged this year. You know, the Hancock Adams Common, you know, John McDonald shows and bands and all the different acts he puts together there. We got the symposiums lined up in the fall. Charlie Baker's running one on collegiate sports, former governor. General Dunford's doing one on foreign policy. I mean, on and on it goes.
Yeah.
It's really, the calendar is pretty full. And as I said early on, Joe, that, we've had lecture series. We've had a number of, the symphony, beautiful concert a few weeks back. Hopefully there's something in there for everybody to plug into and to enjoy. That was kind of the idea.
Yeah. Quincy400.com is your place to go to find out all about it for sure.
I wouldn't know how to get there, but that sounds good.
I was hoping we could talk a little bit about some of the orders before the city council at this time, Mayor, if that's all right.
Oh, do we have to?
We really do, yeah.
Go ahead.
When I have the chief executive on the line, I can't help myself.
No problem.
First one, a public hearing actually held last night at the council regarding amending the housing development zone, the incentive program to include 2 parcels on Granite Streets, the I guess they call it the Grossman Properties, where Grossman's is planning a new development. So I wonder if you could explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, these are additional tools that we can throw in the tool chest, Joe, to help us provide the best opportunity for investment. The Grossman site, it is still owned by the Grossman family, even though the Grossman's lumberyard went away years ago. The family held on to the real estate. As you may know, they bought the Star Market site as well for future development. So they've been landowners there for probably close to 100 years in that location. So they are looking at redevelopment. I know that's before the planning board. They're going to include some housing, which also includes some serious retail, which I can't really get into the names of. Much like the DJ McKinnon project, we can't name the specialty grocer there. But it's exciting stuff. I think the people of the city are going to be very happy with. We try to make sure we provide the best development in the end. Once you develop, your buildings are in place. They're there for a long time. So trying to get the parking right, trying to get the the ratios right on the project itself, trying to get the egresses right. So this is another tool in the tool chest that allow us to get this thing out of the ground.
Why do you think these parcels qualify for this program? So I understand it allows for a negotiated tax exemption for 20 years.
Well, it depends how it's written. It's not an exemption. It's partial exemption. So much like Peter O'Connell built a 15-story building, and he got a tax deal, which he pays every year a certain amount, but it's less than what would normally be. And then it hits, I forget what year it is, and then it goes to the full. Otherwise, we wouldn't get some of these things out of the ground. We wouldn't get them built. The cost of construction today is really, really crazy, particularly in the Northeast. So we're trying to provide some incentives. So the property will still be getting more taxes than we would have otherwise, and so that's positive. It's a good thing in the end. So I know that's a negotiated thing, and I don't know that we have finalized the negotiation on it with what it will be per year and how many years it will go.
Okay. Is part of the proposal to create some affordable housing there, or no?
That would be that's part of the mix of the discussion as well. That's separate from what we're talking about, but yes, it would be with the inclusionary zoning, we call it in Quincy, which provides for either units or in lieu of cash payments to the Affordable Housing Trust. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, and also another order regarding transit-oriented districts, amending the zones around the Crown Colony Office Park and the North Quincy T Station. What does that mean?
Yes. So, essentially, Crown Colony, when it was built, started back in the, I think the late 70s, early 80s, and it was, built out and planned for an office park. And office parks are dying, Joe. So, we've got a lot of empty buildings in Boston. We got some empty buildings at Crown Colony. So we're changing up the zoning that would allow other uses in the park. There's no point in having buildings empty. They don't pay any taxes. They don't provide any jobs. So this overlay district would allow us, again, some additional tools in the tool chest to develop potentially other uses rather than just straight office use up there.
Mm-hmm. There's a public hearing coming up again on that on June 16th to speak more about that.
Sure.
And finally, Mayor, another order, a land disposition agreement for 1620 Hancock Street, the burned-out building that was torn down recently.
Yes, in fact, there was a report. I guess we purchased that site. I want to say for 2.7 million, and the landowner's coming back saying it's valued for more than that. What cracks me up is they sat on a burnt-out building for 20 years, did nothing with it, and under the blight ordinance and under the understanding of doing some development, we took it, as you know, and it's a piece there that was unsightly. It was a major blight. As I remember, it was a combination Tasso's Pizza. I forget what the other use was in there, but at any rate, it was sitting there a long time, burnt out. Roof caved in. It was an embarrassment to the district. So that will be a positive thing. And of course, the developer we're working with had bought the old Coleman Sporting Goods site, later known as the Health Store, for many years. They'll combine with the site that they purchased in addition to the site through the land disposition agreement and develop a new development there, which would include housing and retail on the first floor. The beauty of that location is you get some parking off the backside Mechanic Street because the elevation drops dramatically back there. So it works well. And again, this is development along the spine that I've talked about, near the T stations, particularly Quincy Center, but along the T stations where we've got public transportation. So it's good stuff. We need housing. I keep talking about that. There's a great shortage of housing in our area. The last number I saw, the state put out shortage of 225,000 housing units for Massachusetts. So in Quincy, we can't solve it all, but we're doing our part with the transportation-oriented development. I continue to protect the single-family neighborhoods. We don't want to change that zoning. Cambridge recently changed theirs, which would allow for up to 4 families, changing single-family homes into 4 families in residential A. Some people have asked me about that. I said, we're not Cambridge. We're not going down that road. We've got some great neighborhoods, and I don't want to affect in a negative way the character of those neighborhoods. So this is along the lines of what I've been preaching from day one, and that is development along particularly along the public transportation outlets such as Quincy Centers and Wollaston stations.
Do you know who's the developer on that 1620 Hancock Street?
Hines, John Hines. They've done a number of projects in Boston.
Mm-hmm. And are you confident the city will prevail in that lawsuit?
I'm confident. At the end of the day, they're not going to get the land back. Whether a jury decides to award them a little bit more money, which, if you look historically, Joe, I don't care if it's a state, DCR, cities or towns, for whatever reason, everyone thinks cities and towns have a lot of money, and judges and juries usually go the other way. But I don't know. We took this in earnest. The value we got through appraisals, through special, commercial appraisals. That's what they do for a living. That's where we got the numbers. So we stand by the number, but I can't tell you what will happen in the court.
Sure. Finally, Mayor, we should remind folks about the upcoming Firefighter Memorial Sunday service this Sunday up at Mount Wollaston Cemetery at 9 a.m.
Yes, each year, Memorial Day, and then the following Sunday is the Police Memorial, and then the following Sunday, which is this coming Sunday, is the Fire Memorial, and the firemen gather. They stay in the cemetery, march to the site where the statue of the fireman is, and the number of firemen are buried in that location. So that it's to remember those that have gone before us, much like Memorial Day for our families. This is the firefighter family getting together to remember their brother firefighters who have gone before them and paved the way. And it's a reminder too of the young guys that today the contract's pretty good. Back then they worked 80-hour weeks and benefits weren't as good. A lot of them, died of cancer because they didn't have the equipment and clothing, and so it's good to remember these public servants who gave it all. So.
Absolutely. Always appreciate your time, Mayor. Good to talk to you.
Same here. Enjoy the day.
Thank you. You too.